Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're popping the hood on the global economy. We're going to map out exactly how your everyday decisions, buying that morning coffee, stashing away a chunk of your paycheck, or maybe splurging on an imported gadget, how all of that ripples outward and actually shapes global markets. Let's deconstruct the math and, honestly, the psychology that's driving our economy.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. First, unpacking aggregate demand. Second, the consumption function. Third, marginal propensity to consume. Fourth, the savings function. And finally, number 5, imports and open economies. Let's dive right in.
All right, Section 1, Unpacking Aggregate Demand.
So we define aggregate demand as the sheer total of all output demanded in the entire economy. You can kind of think of this as the ultimate national shopping cart. It literally represents the total volume of goods and services that absolutely everyone, meaning you, me, businesses, and the government, wants to buy at any given price level.
Now, this master equation right here, y equals c plus I plus g plus nx, is absolutely crucial. It systematically captures every single drop of demand for our economy's output. Y is our total output, and the right side, that shows us exactly where that demand is coming from. We've got C for household consumption, I for business investment, G for government spending, and NX for net exports. So next time you read a flashy headline about the economy booming or crashing, just remember, it's really just a story about one of these 4 fundamental pillars shifting around.
Moving right along to Section 2, the consumption function.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how Mankew's graph beautifully visualizes a core economic truth. Higher disposable income directly drives a mathematically predictable increase in consumption. See that upward sloping blue line? That's the consumption function in action. As your disposable income grows along that horizontal axis, your consumption on the vertical axis just rises steadily right along with it.
And this elegant little equation just formalizes what we just saw. Your consumption, C, is a direct function of Y minus T. Y is your total income, and T is the taxes you pay. So Y minus T is simply your disposable income, the actual cash in your wallet that you have the power to go out and spend. The real beauty of macroeconomics is how it takes your personal, individual wallet and scales it up to represent millions of households simultaneously. It's wild when you think about it.
Which brings us to Section 3, marginal propensity to consume.
Okay, so exactly how much of that extra dollar of disposable income will you actually spend? Well, the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC, is strictly a fraction between 0 and 1. Let's say your MPC is 0.7. That means for every unexpected extra dollar you earn, like say from a tax refund, you're going to predictably spend 70 cents of it on goods and hold on to the other 30 cents. This single little decimal point is genuinely one of the most powerful numbers in all of economic forecasting.
And this perfectly illustrates the historical weight of human behavior. John Maynard Keynes hit the nail on the head when he called this a fundamental psychological law. He basically recognized that we are psychologically wired to spend a portion of our new wealth, but we naturally save the rest. This creates this massive, powerful feedback loop in the economy. The math of macroeconomics is entirely dependent on our human desires and our deep need for security.
To really test this psychology, economist David Leibson uses this awesome thought experiment about instant gratification. He asks, would you prefer a candy right now or 2 tomorrow? It brilliantly shows why our propensity to consume today so often goes to battle with our long-term intentions to save for tomorrow. A lot of us just choose the instant gratification of option A, right? Even if cold, hard logic dictates option B. Predicting consumer spending isn't just about staring at spreadsheets. It's really about understanding human temptation.
All right, Section 4, the savings function.
If MPC dictates what we spend, let's pivot to its logical mirror image. This perfectly juxtaposes the binary reality of your disposable income. Think about it. Every single dollar that isn't consumed has absolutely nowhere else to go but into savings. If your marginal propensity to consume told you to spend 70 cents of that extra dollar, the remaining 30 cents, that's your saving. They are literally just 2 sides of the exact same financial coin. As this equation shows, saving is, by definition, identically equal to income minus consumption. It's simply what remains after the demands of consumers have been fully satisfied. While consumption feels super active, you're out there buying things, swiping your card, saving is the mathematically vital remainder that fuels the very next stage of the entire macroeconomic cycle.
So, let's see how this builds our national saving framework step by step. National saving isn't just a bunch of money sitting idle in a giant vault somewhere. Mathematically, it equals investment. We figured this out by taking private saving, which is your income minus taxes and consumption, and adding public saving, which is the government's tax revenue minus its spending. This proves something absolutely amazing. The funds flowing into banks as your personal savings are the exact same funds flowing right back out to businesses as loans to build factories and innovate. It's all connected.
Finally, Section 5, Imports and Open Economies.
So far, our little model has kind of assumed everything you buy was made domestically, a perfectly sealed-off economy. But what actually happens when your income buys foreign goods? We have to ask ourselves, how does the whole equilibrium shift when your consumer spending leaks right out of the country to purchase imported cars, electronics, or, foreign beverages?
Enter the marginal propensity to import. By defining this, we can measure exactly how much of our domestic spending power drains into foreign markets. Just like the propensity to consume tells us how much we spend overall, this new metric isolates the fraction that crosses national borders. It's a really vital leakage from our domestic demand that we have to account for.
As you can see, shifting from a closed to an open economy changes the math considerably. A rise in your personal income directly fuels foreign demand through these imports. Because some of your spending leaves the country, it lessens spending on domestic goods and worsens our home country's trade balance. In these macro models, this leakage means it takes less of a change in income to balance the goods market, which fundamentally alters how a country recovers from economic shocks. It's a huge deal. So, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Consider how your micro-level, fundamental psychological choices regarding instant gratification today could ultimately redefine tomorrow's global macroeconomic equilibrium. Every single time you choose to save rather than consume, or buy a domestic product over an imported one, you are literally altering the variables that dictate global trade. Pretty mind-blowing, right? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and as always, keep looking at the data.